Right, let's do tonight's top 10 list and then we'll get Peter Cook right out here, OK? Tonight's top 10 list is the top 10 demands of the French farmers. You know they've been at it again, Doctor. Again? Doctor, they've been at it again. And I don't know, whenever I see the roadblocks and the whole thing going on, I think, oh, they've got a situation over there in France. But I'm never quite sure what the I'm never quite sure what the situation is. And so what we did, we canvassed 100 French farmers, and right here are their 10 demands before they settle down, OK? So the top 10 demands of the French farmers. Stephen. Number 10, medals at Olympics henceforth awarded on style basis. Number 9, international leaders accorded respect for knowledge of Jerry Lewis films. Number 8, di imperno no longer silent. Number 7, Gallic shrug recognised as the international symbol of friendship. It actually is. Number 6, Oliver Reed never allowed to play figures in French history again, ever, ever, ever. Number 5, blame for Euro Disney put squarely at door of the Dutch, where it belongs. Number 4, horse, good and tasty. Number 3, immediate return of recently auctioned Napoleon's penis. Now, come on, guys, give it back. We're not kidding this time. Number 2, pass global motion recognising that US has never paid a single red cent in costly upkeep of Roman Valansky. And the number 1 demand of the French farmers, the Second World War. For God's sake, that was years ago. Yeah, there you go. My beer's gone. 2 seconds, my beer went. How are you out there, hot? Now, my first ever guest ever, after Suggs, is a man who I always planned to have my first ever guest. Always planned this guy would be number 1 on my list. It's just such a drag we're launching in a week when he's been on every other TV show. Lurching our way at last, it's the sobriety himself, Peter Cook, Mr. Peter Cook, right here. Peter, awesome. Well, indeed. Well. Pete, you've been everywhere. Let me just ask you, you have been everywhere this week.
Did you see Gardener's World? I was bloody good on that.
I was going to ask you this. Who is the dumbest person you've come up... What kind of things have you done this week? Have you been asked many, many dumb questions?
No, not really. They've all been very, very intelligent, the people who've asked me questions this week.
And they've tried to actually read some sociology into Derek and Clive, right?
Mainly they've asked me, you know, where is Derek and Clive on sale? That much, you say? What do you think of it? I say it's disgusting. That, you know, that's about the end of it, really.
I tell you something I find fascinating. They've all ignored it. But God knows, and I mean this, and you'll never hear me say this on this series again, but this is a fantastic video. This is not a puff. I've had it a long time because it's actually been out before. It did come out before. Nobody I know has actually pointed this out. This is a re-released video.
It is a re-release because in 1980 it was released, and James Anderton, God bless him, of the Manchester Police, seized 80 copies. Seized 80 copies, and James, if you're watching, please could we have them back?
So you're virtually killer driller. You've been suppressed.
We have been underground for quite a while, and it shows.
It's a very, very funny video. Before we show a clip of it and stuff, there's a police raid that takes part in it, and you look shocked. Did you really not know the police were going to raid you?
No, I did not know. This was arranged by Richard Branson, and
before he was big shot, right?
Before he had airlines and went into all that kind of stuff. But no, Dudley and I were just sitting there, and these uniformed officers appeared from the control room, and I was very shocked indeed because I had a cigarette in my hand that was not a Craven A.
You're kidding!
And
you're kidding!
So with typical grace, I concealed it down my then wife's boot.
What a wonderful image of marriage that is. Her, not me.
Yeah, not me.
You're going to snick anyone.
And Dudley was saying, can I have some identification, please?
Yes, he does.
I live in Los Angeles. It's nothing to do with me. I believe very firmly that I was satanically possessed. There were some people in Chorley Wood, or it could have been Chadwell Heath, that I've been out for a drink with, and Richard Branson was wearing his beard in a rather different way in those days. Yeah. And if ever you notice his feet, one looked cloven to me.
It popped out.
But yeah. I was naturally shocked when I saw what we'd done. And Dudley had no idea what he was up to.
That you did on 3 albums, not just once.
Yes, that's the odd thing about Satanism. You
go back.
You scarcely notice what you're doing. I don't recommend it to anyone.
Yeah. Derek and Clive are dead now?
No, Derek is in Malibu, where he's undergoing therapy.
But do you seriously talk like that to each other still?
Of course, yes. Yeah. And Clive is living, we believe, with a 12-year-old in Manila. But I don't know where they are. You know, they're superstars, and I couldn't really speculate.
Here's a big fat question: are you the king of comedy?
Certainly not. I am the Wallace Simpson, or indeed the Juan Perón.
No, you have few peers. There's you and Milligan, who, if you look at most of the stuff, whether it be Python or the young ones, or even just
yeah, but they do a lot. You see.
Yeah, but you don't. But nevertheless, okay.
Well, I do a great deal. None of it gets shown. That's the trouble.
You made that thing for London Weekend, a great hour-long programme.
Peter Cook and Co. Yes.
Great, never not been repeated once.
Transmitted on Jupiter.
No, it wasn't. I made a joke about you being boozed, and everyone roared with laughter. That's Pete, all right. Are you boozed?
Oh, completely.
Hey,
completely drunk. I mean, it's on the way here, believe it or not, there's a gentleman in Hampstead who I see from time to time, who is a pensioner, and I see him out with his dog every day. He said, "Oh, blimey, Pete," he said, "that was disgusting what you did on GMTV." The GMTV, what disgusting thing am I doing? He said, "Well, you were completely pissed at 6 in the morning." And he said, you were urinating over the presenter. I said, "Not to my knowledge. I mean,
maybe,
Lorraine Kelly's hair is undamaged by my visit." But this may well be Satanism at work again.
Yeah. This spate of stories recently about people going into Soho sex joints. Don't you like? Have you seen these stories? You frequent Soho a lot, and there's the clip joints, and we've had lots of. Why is that getting a laugh? He does.
I run 2 of the clip joints.
And, well, before we carry on, I better do this because he's got to go. Up there, Mr. John Sargent of the BBC News. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Sargent just up there. John? John, thank you very much indeed. In Soho, these people, these tourists who are now coming out of the woodwork saying we were charged £800 for 2 Pepsi Colas. You are a connoisseur, if not a serious connoisseur, but nevertheless you like the underbelly, the underlife, you like low lifes. Have you ever been to a sex club, Peter? That's it.
Yes, I have, but they're very hard to find because a lot of men will come up to you and say, "You want to see something really good?"
You've not been ripped off yourself, yeah?
Of course I have, yeah.
You?
The number of really good live sex shows that I've nearly seen, but not quite, is
Describe 7 or 8 of our audience have never been to these places. So.
London has fallen off a bit since the Maltese left. But in Paris, for example, I was in Paris with Dave Cash, who's the managing director of Private Eye, and we were doing something over there. I said, "Come on, let's go and get ripped off." And,
oh boy, I find that the evenings fly by when you decide
we went to. He said, "Well, what is it?" I said, "Well, what they'll say is that some girls are going to take their clothes off. We won't see that at all. We'll see a curtain for about 2 hours, and there'll be occasional movement behind the curtain, but that'll just be people moving furniture. There won't be any girls, and they'll charge us an enormous amount for non-existent champagne." He said, "What kind of place is that?" I said, "The place we just walked into."
And
he said, "Oh yes, they charged us about £2,000 for half a lager, and we never saw anybody take their clothes off." So eventually we started doing it for them and invoiced them accordingly.
You did a couple of sex shows.
Yeah, yes.
Hey, you talk about your Johnny Carsons. Peter Cook here. Where do I sit?
Voted by Sun readers the worst television programme ever.
Right. Tell us the history. It ran for 6 or 7 years?
They ran for 3 shows.
3 shows? Well, seriously, and they dragged it off, yeah?
They dragged it off with my full cooperation. I couldn't do it at all. I had Kirk Douglas as one of my guests, and I had
Douglas?
A very carefully prepared question, which was, how are you? And I said, who are you, by mistake.
Coming back to Derek and Clive, that looked like, it is just one night's filming. As you see it...
About 8 hours of Dudley and myself sitting on stools.
Yeah, it looks, I mean, it's a lot...
But there is an inflatable woman.
Inflatable woman.
There is a stick of celery.
Songs.
There are figs.
French figs.
And French figs.
French figs. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know even at this time whether we can still do it, but here's just a little of Derek and Clive Get the Home.
I'm now talking about Wales. I have the right to change the subject.
What right do you have to change the subject? You didn't start the subject, why should you change it?
I didn't start it, but I'll change it.
You're not changing it. I'm going on with Wales,
you
which
go
are
on
mammals.
With Wales, I'm going on with Wales.
Well, mine is with an H, which is more than your Wales have. Your Wales don't have an H,
We don't need an H.
No. Well, we've got an H,
yeah, well,
which we'll be proud of.
Stick your H up your arse, mate. Have you got a national anthem? No.
Yes, we have. Wales unite, Wales will fight, Wales will go on eating plankton. Wales we are nice, Wales full of spice.
That's not the
and we
national
don't
anthem.
like being done.
Gentlemen, from Derek and Clive Get the Home. You know, I thought finding a rhyme for orange was tough until plankton.
Plankton is very, very difficult and scientifically accurate, actually, about Wales.
And just because Dudley went on just after that to do his whole Hollywood thing.
We just done 10.
Sure.
Yeah.
And did he ring you up and say, "Listen, I'd really like you to, to sit on this"? No, I'd really like you not. Oh, forget it. Where can I go with it?
He wasn't too keen on it being released in America. But then America wasn't too keen on it being released there either, so...
But it's out now, Peter Cook. Again, you know, double entendre all over the place. It's out now, Peter Cook, as are you. God forbid that TV has reached such a dire phase where they say, let's get someone else instead of Peter Cook, because you can be on TV all the time, my friend, and you'll still come back to After All time and time again, I hope. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Peter Cook, right here.
Thank you, Dan.
Of the high rolling we plan to bring you each what's left of Saturday night, because we sure as hell didn't get it across to the people at Radio Times. You see, those people on that magazine, you know, good journalists, they have a certain style which, if I'm absolutely honest, Bark, it's square, it's a little corny, okay? So for this show, I actually wrote them, 6 or 7 little pieces, as we journalists call them, right, Michael? 6 or 7 little pieces, which I thought accurately reflected this chat show, accent on show mood. I thought, there it is, people will understand that. It doesn't meet you halfway, but I think those who want to see it will see it. Well, they returned them. I've not had copy returned since Michael Winner worked at the NME, let me tell you that. So that hurt, and they said, no, people won't get this. They need simpler descriptions. They didn't get it, okay? Anyway, so I did them again. I sent them to them. They still rejected them, so I figured, the hell with it. You boys must be mighty proud of your copy. So here, for all you confused young consumers out there, is actor Christopher Douglas with a dramatic reading of our billing in this week's Radio Times.
11:50 p.m. Danny Baker, After All. New series. Radio 5's Morning Edition presenter attempts to give the late-night chat show the kiss of life. His radio show has been described as the funniest and most intelligent on the airwaves. And that's the recipe he hopes to bring to television. Recorded on the day of transmission. Recorded on the day of transmission, After All will reflect rock culture, attitudes, express grown-up opinions, jokes. It will offer spontaneous TV, film, and book reviews. Oh yes, and a few celebrity guests. Director Janet Fraser-Crook, producer Caroline Wright, video plus number 194296.